The Dallas Mavericks take on the Charlotte Hornets in an MLK Matinee. We get you ready for today's show. Coming up next year on the DLLS Mavs pregame show. Hey, what's up, DLLS Mavs Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato, Mavericks analyst Bobby Karalla. We are DLLS Mavs, your favorite guys, covering your favorite team every single game day, even when it's 11 o'clock in the morning. At Kevin Gray Sports, at Tim_Cato, at Bobby Karalla if you want to get at us on X. The Mavericks take on the Charlotte Hornets today in an MLK Matinee morning game day for you here on DLLS Sports. Really appreciate you joining us here. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to us while you're here as well. And check out our podcast wherever you get your podcast for free. Mavericks looking to extend their winning streak. I guess it would be the 2 games today while trying to snap the Hornets 2-game run. We'll get you ready for today's show and today's game, I should say, over the course of the next half hour. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
On this Monday morning. What's going on?
I think every NBA game should be played at 11 a.m. I just think this is lovely. Thank you, Adam Silver. Now do it for the rest of them.
I think it's neat. I do see El Patel saying, I know Bobby had this game circled due to Grant Williams. Grant is just off screen. He's out today, but he's just off screen in studio. We're going to play a few blitz games during halftime today. I'm really, really excited for it.
Well, good for you and Grant. Hope you have fun.
Yeah.
With Grant.
Shouldn't Grant be in Charlotte?
No, he's going to hang out with us today.
Why are you trying to help the Hornets?
Well, he's not going to play anyway, Tim. He's hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got
You of all people should know about injuries because the Mavs have like 7,000 of them.
Which we will get to.
Know I remember. Yes, I do know about his injury.
It's morning for all of us here.
Well, I was going to say why, but I shouldn't. So never mind.
Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate that. The Mavericks today taking on the Charlotte Hornets. Game number, what will be 44 on the season? 40? Is it 43? I'm confused. 43. Game number 43 on the season. Mavericks 23-19 afterwards getting the win over the Oklahoma City Thunder. 10-11 away from the American Airlines Center. Charlotte 10-28 on the season. 6-13 at home so far this year. Mavericks 4.5-point favorite on the road against the Hornets, the over-under being 223.5. Let's get you set up for where these two teams are coming into today's game. The Mavericks, of course, 7th in the Western Conference, coming off their win on Friday night over the Oklahoma City Thunder. Unfortunately, though, the Mavericks, of course, have lost 9 of their last 13 games since Christmas Day, including 5 straight on the road. So looking to snap their road woes today against the Charlotte Hornets as well. Dallas's next 3 games, of course, after today against the Timberwolves, the Thunder, and the Boston Celtics in what is being dubbed rivalry week in the NBA. So the Mavericks will come home.
Kicking it off against Charlotte, baby.
Kicking it off against Charlotte. Well, it's a rivalry game for P.J. Washington, I guess, as he takes on the Charlotte.
I think it's the Mavericks versus the injuries. That's a pretty big...
That's a big rivalry this year,
There's a lot of beef back and forth between those two right now.
Yeah, between the Mavericks and injuries. That's a good call, Tim. The Mavericks so far this year, 11-3 against teams below 500, and they've been beaten up on the East as well. They're 6-3 so far this year against the Eastern Conference. Meanwhile, for the Charlotte Hornets, 13th in the Eastern Conference right now. They've won 2 straight games, looking for their first 3-game win streak of the season. They're just 3-7, though, in their last 10 games are the Charlotte Hornets. 7-19 against teams above 500, so they haven't played well against good teams so far this year. They just completed a 3-game road trip that was actually cut short due to the wildfires in Los Angeles. They were scheduled to take on the Lakers and the Clippers as part of a 5-game road trip. That was cut to 3, so they wound up being 2-1 on their road trip with wins over Utah and Chicago. Strange scheduling quirk for Charlotte. They begin a stretch today, gentlemen, where they will play 10 of their next 11 games at home, including after their next road game, what will be 9 consecutive games at home for the Charlotte Hornets. So really interesting scheduling quirk for them. That'll begin on Friday with the Portland Trailblazers. That gets us to...
I feel bad for the season ticket holder. That's tough.
Like 9 straight home games?
That's a lot of games that you bought tickets to that you kind of have to go. Like, it's just a lot to figure out. They always say in the NBA from the business side, really, really long homestands are really, really bad for business and for your fans, for everybody. It's just bad. It's bad for the players. It's bad for everybody. You're used to the rhythm of going on the road, coming home for a few days, going on the road for a few days. But when you're stuck at home forever, all these people, they don't want to go to every game. So they're scrambling to take care of that. You're going to have a lot of half-empty gyms. The players are tired of their family. They're tired of everything. They're tired of doing their laundry. They're tired of all that stuff. They just want to go on the road. And then right after that, they're going to go on the road for the next month and a half. They're going to be tired of that too.
Exactly.
So it's actually really brutal for them.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie.
What percentage of fans are season, or like how many season ticket holders does a typical franchise have?
The Mavs are on the higher end. They're close to 100% full season equivalent. So they're like, I want to say at their peak, it was like 85 to 90% full season equivalent, which means between full season, half season, and then mini plans stacked up, because you would get like the 10-game plan. Well, 4 of those is a full season equivalent.
I guess that's kind of what I was thinking about, is that
but like the Hornets are not as successful in that.
Yeah, most of the I don't know if I know anybody who have like full season tickets, but I do know people who have these partial packs.
Yeah.
But I guess that does make sense. I mean, season ticket holder, what percentage of those people attend most of the games?
It's not going to be, I mean, here it's not even very high. Up there I can't imagine it would be that high either. It's just it's just so much. It's so much money, so much time.
Like I would imagine the majority of season ticket holders in the entire league become season ticket holders for the perks, and for the title. And obviously for the love of the team, but with a plan to attend probably 30 or 25. Anyway, I don't know. You just sparked some curiosity. We can continue with our actual preview. Sorry, guys.
What's good to Bobby with our scouting report on today's game as the Mavericks take on the Charlotte Hornets, and the Charlotte Hornets big man doing some work so far for them this year.
Yeah, KG. So this has been one of the worst teams in the league this season. From November 23rd till January 5th, they won 1 time. Since then, though, they've won 3 of their last 4 games. Now, no one's going to raise a banner for winning 3 out of 4, but one of the things that's happened for them over the last few weeks here, really month and a half, is that Mark Williams has debuted. He missed their first 20 games of the season. He's missed a couple games since then as well, but over the last 7 games, he's really kind of found his stride. During that time, as Basketball Reference refuses to load, he's averaging 19 points a game, almost 13 rebounds a game, more than 1 block per game, almost 1 steal per game. Big time presence on the inside. And the Hornets don't have a lot of size. They just traded away Nick Richards. They got him. They got Diabate. That's about it. They don't have, Grant Williams was their starting 4, or coming off the bench, kind of. Miles Bridges. Like, neither of them is very big. So, them having some size on the inside is really important.
Despite that, still a top 10 offensive rebounding team, or at preventing offensive rebounding.
Yeah, really good defensive. Yeah, a lot of athletes. LaMelo gets a lot of rebounds.
Yeah. So just wanted to note that as we start talking about Daniel Gafford and offensive rebounding and how Dallas can make up, it's not as easy as it's going to be against who they just played, where he said that was the
Thunder.
Yeah, it's going to be a pain point for sure.
No. Even before that, they played the Pelicans, who were atrocious at it.
Yeah. So. For the season, the Hornets score 104 points per 100 possessions whenever Williams is on the floor, which is a ghastly number. But during that 7-game stretch, which spans back to December 30th, because so many of their games have been postponed, they're up to more than 110 points per 100 possessions whenever he's on the floor, which still isn't great, but it's way better than 104. So they're scoring like almost like a respectable offense, and they're playing pretty good defense too. Again, this is a really athletic team. LaMelo's not that great defensively. They got a lot of guys on their perimeter that aren't great, but they do have a lot of athletes. They have some decent length, and then Williams around the rim is a really disruptive shot blocker. And so, it's not going to be the same thing as it was against the Pelicans, where you can just dump it down to Gafford and punish the smalls. You can't do that like you did against the Thunder either. Like, this is a team that has a little bit of size. The one thing about Mark Williams you need to know, dude makes a lot of dunks. He makes a lot of alley-oops. He is 7 of 18 on hook shots. He's 7 of 18 on jump shots. He's shooting 58% on tips and 57% on layups. If you just keep him 2 feet away from the rim, then he becomes a very average player. But if you let him dunk it, he's big and strong and tall, and he can jump high, and it can become a problem. So
reminds me of you.
Yeah. So if you don't want to overreact too much to LaMelo, you can't leave him. You got to be around Mark Williams. Otherwise, Daniel Gafford is going to have a little bit of a hard time, could end up in foul trouble and all that stuff. So you want to try and keep him as far away from the rim as possible.
Do you have any theories why Charlotte is not a better offense, even though LaMelo is that fun and, quite frankly, I think that good of an offensive player?
I mean, he still shoots, 33% from three or something?
This team as a whole can't shoot.
Yeah.
They can't shoot.
The thing with LaMelo is, like, he is so fun to watch. For those of you that haven't seen LaMelo Ball this season, the dude is such a treat. He's unbelievable.
He plays like a YouTube like highlight video that's just like NBA skills, but they get increasingly more reckless or increasingly more insane. He plays like one of those YouTube videos. I swear to God.
Yeah,
I'm legitimately excited to watch him today.
When the Mavs yard element to his game.
Yeah, when the Mavs are up like 15 or 20 in the third quarter, Luka just kind of like starts. I don't know what I can say or can't say. He just starts messing around.
Yeah,
okay. I think he's a fringe all-star. I think he's really good. I really like him as a player. I do think that there's a little bit of efficiency stuff that weighs down the offense. I don't think this offense is like, I don't think the players around him are that good. I don't think they're well suited. I don't think they're very reactive players who respond well. I think what Dallas did this summer to really build players who can do a little bit of self-creation, that they can attack off the dribble, they can attack off the bounce. I don't see a lot of those players on this roster. They're all very static, and LaMelo is the opposite of a static player.
Yeah, but he doesn't really like, he messes around a lot. You know, there's not a lot of that sort of like sense of decorum to the offense, or like, I don't know, this is going to sound so condescending, but like professionalism. There's not like the intent and sort of like these themes. LaMelo just freelances, he is so good at. The dude is unbelievable.
He gives you a lot of and one vibe.
Oh my God.
And one schoolyard vibe.
He has taken like 70 one-legged threes this season.
Yeah.
And that's not an exaggeration. Like, he's unbelievably talented, but
also completely unserious.
Yeah, and that results in a lot of bad shots, a lot of bad turnovers. And so like his greatest weapon is also his greatest weakness, I think.
Yeah.
And until they can kind of figure out how to either rein it in or find guys that fit that sort of mode as well, then it could be kind of weird for them. That said, they could very easily win this game.
And LaMelo Ball also leading the Eastern Conference guards in fan voting so far in the NBA All-Star voting. So he's a popular player among fans who enjoy his brand of basketball. The lead story, though, of today for the Mavericks, injuries again continue to be the lead story for this team as they continue to pile up. No Jaden Hardy, no Dwight Powell, no Derek Lively II, who continues to miss time with his ankle sprain. And, oh, by the way, Quentin Grimes has also been ruled out today. He's dealing with back spasms. So, Bobby, Omax Prosper Legacy game incoming today. Because
he's played well lately.
He has played well as of late. But in all seriousness, the depth, again, is going to be tested for this team, even with Kyrie Irving in the lineup along with P.J. Washington as well. The Mavericks' depth is going to be tested once again today.
Yeah, Tim, who the heck even, like, what is the rotation?
So we're going Kyrie, Spencer, Clays, PJ, Gafford. That's pretty easy. Omax is coming in off the bench. Najee's coming in off the bench. You're going to...
Like, where's your ball handling?
Maxi's coming in off the bench. You just got to stagger Spencer and...
Dude,
it's going to be a short
rotation today.
It's going to be Spencer, Kyrie, and Najee. And
it's tough,
I think I'd be surprised.
And Brandon Williams going to get
Brandon Williams is going to get at least like 6 minutes. I don't think there's any.
Brandon Williams is going to be the guy. He comes in, he plays the Hardy role whenever they're healthy, which is right at the start of the second period. What am I? A referee? Come in, start in the second quarter, play for like 4 to 6 minutes, and then get yanked.
Yeah,
man, they're down to the studs. They're ripped down to the studs today. Holy moly!
Yeah,
no Dwight either. I mean, there's
no Dwight Powell.
Markieff Morris gonna have to get minutes. Like,
I was gonna say, Markieff might get some run today.
Yeah,
no, in all seriousness,
I don't think literally. I think you still have a 9-man rotation that you rock with. But
when Gafford gets in foul trouble, then what? Or Maxey is struggling. I mean,
don't let Maxey get hurt today.
Yeah,
it'll be real Markieff time.
It's really tough
for the Mavericks.
It's rough. It's definitely rough. This is not the most fun. But yeah, like Markieff, if Markieff does not play, he is like the literal one player on the roster, the one player of the 15-man roster who would not play in this game. Every other player, you got six of your 15 out, your other 9 will be in the game. All 9 of them.
Yeah.
And probably a 10th in Brandon Williams.
Goatman?
Maybe he's not he's a two-way guy.
Is he with the G League team?
I don't know where he's at. I would assume
cowards.
He's with the team.
Bring him up.
Yeah. But I think we've seen that Brandon Williams is ahead of him.
Yeah, no, and rightfully so.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Mavericks taking on the Hornets for the first time this season. Dallas took the season series last year 2-0. The Mavericks have won 16 of their last 21 games in Charlotte, so they played really well in Charlotte over the last 21 games. In their road win against Charlotte last year, lukadoncic had 39 points. Daniel Gafford had a big game that day as well. He had 26 points in a game that they led by as many as 27. These two teams will face each other again on February 27th here in Dallas. So Daniel Gafford will have to loom large again today, like he did in the road matchup last year. Coming up here on the pregame show, more on who's in, who's out, some X factors, and some numbers to give you as the Mavericks take on the Charlotte Hornets today on Martin Luther King Day. But before that, let's talk to you a little bit about Sleeper.
I'm in desperate need of a win, just like the Mavs. We got to keep the good times rolling, and I gotta reset my vibes. All right, so here's my sleeper play for today's game. Kyrie Irving, I'm going to adjust his points plus rebounds plus assists down to 30 and take the more than on that. Klay Thompson, I think he's going to hit at least 2 threes. I feel pretty good about that. Mark Williams, double-double. The dude gets it in his sleep. He averages 19 and 13 over the last month, so that's pretty easy. And then LaMelo Ball, I'm going to bring his points plus rebounds plus assists down to 40. With Sleeper, the more you play, the more you win. So I stack these 4 picks, and that makes my multiplier times 2.5. So a $5 play can become a $12.50 winning pick'em. If you want to join me, if you think you know ball better than me, heck, DLLS Mavs is the promo code. Play $5, get $55 free to play with on any play. It does not have to be your first one or anything. It can be any time you want. Download Sleeper today. Terms and conditions apply and all that good stuff. Also, KG, we're having a watch party.
We are having a watch party.
We're having a watch party. February 6th at Cosm. It's Mavs versus Celtics. I know
finals rematch.
I know how many tickets we started with, and I don't know how many are left, but I know it's down to there's very few tickets left. I cannot communicate this to you efficiently enough or urgently enough. If you want to get a ticket to this, act quickly. Tanner just put the link in the chat right now or 15 seconds ago, according the way that y'all are seeing this. Basically, Cosm is like a giant dome. It's like watching a basketball game on an IMAX screen, but it's from different angles than just the broadcast angle. So it's like a totally different way of experiencing the game.
An immersive viewing experience.
Yeah, and we're taking some folks up there to hang out to watch the game. Diehards get a discount. That's one of the bennies of being a diehard. You get 20% off the cost of the ticket, which is pretty sweet. But you don't have to be a diehard to go. You can be anybody. To go Feb 6. Cosm is up in Grandscape in the Colony if you haven't been up there before. It's my first time going. I'm really, really excited to go and check it out. So, yeah, check the info in the link below. That's also trade deadline day.
That is trade deadline. It's going to be a busy day for us.
Yeah, we got some stuff planned for that day, too, that I'll let you all know about later.
Speaking of which,
we do. I need to let you know about this, too, evidently.
So, we'll be talking with our National NBA insider, Mark Stein, during our post-game show. Had some interesting news over the weekend when it comes to the Mavericks moving toward the trade deadline as well. We'll be chatting with him during our post-game shows. We continue here on our pregame show. The Mavericks taking on the Charlotte Hornets at 11 a.m. If you're going to be watching the game, you can watch it on KFAA channel 29, I should say, for today's game, and also on NBA TV as well. As we get to the injury report for both teams, we start with the Charlotte Hornets. Brandon Miller, he's out with a ligament tear in his right wrist. Trey Mann, he's also out. He's dealing with disc irritation. Grant Williams, he is out, of course, dealing with the torn ACL. For the Mavericks, lengthy injury report for them today. Lukadoncic is out with the calf strain. Derek Lively II, he remains out with the right ankle sprain. Dante Exum continues to remain out with his wrist injury as well. Jaden Hardy out with the right ankle sprain. Dwight Powell also out with the hip strain. And Quentin Grimes out with back spasms today. So a shorthanded Mavericks group going to be trying to get a win on the road against Charlotte. That gets us to our Mavericks Player Spotlight today. No, we're not going to focus on PJ Washington.
Can I ask one real quick question?
Yeah.
Would anybody like to guess what LaMelo Ball's middle name is?
This is a random
Jonathan.
question.
It is LaMelo LaFrance Ball.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I just wanted to share that.
Cool.
I thought that was pretty important once I just saw it right now.
Shout out to LaFrance.
Yeah.
We're not going to focus in on PJ Washington, who, of course, spent nearly 5 years with the Charlotte Hornets. He's looking for a revenge game today. Josh Green also looking for a revenge game, I guess, against his former team in the Dallas Mavericks. But instead, let's focus in on Najee Marshall, who played well against the Oklahoma City Thunder. He had a great all-around game off the bench for Dallas, of course, with 14 points, 10 rebounds, 3 steals, and a block in what was 34 minutes for the Dallas Mavericks. He's going to loom large today, gentlemen, as we mentioned, as shorthanded as they are. Najee Marshall is going to have to provide quality minutes for this team to provide some punch, not only scoring, but also some all-around game against Charlotte today.
Yeah, he's super important. I mean, I know that before the season we were debating like who is the replacement. Is Quentin Grimes the Josh Green replacement? Is Najee? In a lot of ways, Najee has kind of been the guy who is not quite not the same spot up threat. Not a guy who's always looking for the jumper in the same way that Grimes and Klay Thompson are, but he just has a lot to his game. A lot that he can do on and off the ball. Really dynamic player. Najee has been, and he's trusted. I think it's very clear that when Jason Kidd, out of all his ball handlers, there's the two stars, there's Spencer Dinwiddie. I think Najee Marshall is the ball handler, the offense creator that he trusts the most, that he is most willing to, look at a possession and see it ending up with Najee having to go to work and make something happen. And more often than not, like, good things happen out of that. So especially when you're down so many ball handlers, when you are looking at the possibility that a two-way player is going to have to, two-way point guard is going to have to get in there and try to spark the offense. There is also going to be just a lot of responsibility, a lot of a lot asked out of Najee to continue this, to keep this going. And sure, it's not always as traditional as him, fluidly running a pick and roll into an alley-oop, although certainly he can do that. But however he gets it done, and sometimes it's like a herky-jerky style, and sometimes it looks as like Najee has no clue where he's going, and then all of a sudden he spins back the other way, and it's an 8-foot floater, and it goes in. But what matters is that it works, not how it looks. And quite frankly, the fact that it works means that it looks pretty good, just in a kind of his own unique special style.
PJ and Najee combined for 30 points and 17 rebounds against OKC. Again, they were kind of able to impose their physicality, their will, their size and strength on those guys. It'll be less so the case today. But those guys are going to be the ones that are going to be, I would suspect, chiefly guarding Miles Bridges. LaMelo's going to do his thing. Mark Williams is going to pick up a bunch of the scraps, and he's going to score quite a bit too. Miles Bridges is the guy that if he goes off for like 20, 25, 30 points or something, like you might just not have the firepower to win this game. So I'm worried more about those two defensively. Can they stay out of foul trouble? Can they keep Bridges under control? And then hopefully get some of their own at the other end.
I think that's the tricky thing when you're really looking at Charlotte, is that they do have a relatively high ceiling for a team that's pretty bad. Like if things just click, given where Dallas is at with all their injuries, it might just be an offensive performance they can't keep up with. But you know what they say. I mean, it starts early on. It starts with the tone you set. Don't let those guys get into easy shots that might lead to bigger, more explosive games as each quarter goes on. Make sure you limit them early. Make sure that you slow it down. So I think that really just emphasizes the importance of playing good, stout defense from the opening whistle.
I guess it's to our X factors for today's game as we focus in on the Mavericks taking on the Hornets. Let's start with X factor number one, and we started to talk about it a little bit in terms of the offensive rebounding abilities of the Charlotte Hornets. If you're the Mavericks, number one, you got to close out possessions with defensive rebounds. Charlotte is second in the NBA this season in offensive rebounding, getting nearly 13 offensive boards per contest.
Not good, KG.
Not good. So, Daniel Gafford, I'm looking at you, my guy. You're going to have to be big on the boards today against the Charlotte Hornets. It's going to have to be a collective team rebounding game as well, whether it be Najee Marshall, PJ Washington, who's averaging nearly 8 rebounds a game this year, which is a career high for Washington. There's going to have to be a lot of team rebounding today against a good offensive rebounding club.
And I will note, like, Nick Richards was a big part of that, and he's obviously not on the team anymore. And so far, Mark Williams has not made that sort of impact in terms of the offensive rebounding. But the real player, their true best offensive rebound, is Diabate off the bench. He is still with the team. He will be in this game. That's the guy that you have to key in on, especially because, he comes off the bench, and so it might be the situation where Gafford's coming out of the game. We already know Gafford can struggle with this a little bit, but if he's matched up against Maxey, it can't just be Maxey. It's got to be a team-wide
get down there
effort.
and help him out.
Yeah.
The other thing, too, there's a familiar face on the Hornets roster, Josh Green. We know how he can soar in from out of nowhere and grab a few offensive rebounds. So if you're Clay, if you're Kyrie, if you're Dinwiddie, and you're guarding him and someone else puts up a shot, you cannot just like put your head down and start running back up the floor. You have to at least give him a little forearm right
Let
to
him
the
know
rib
you're
cage.
there.
Yeah, because otherwise, I mean, he'll scoop up 3 or 4 of those things himself.
Yeah, a real energy guy, of course, is Josh Green for this team, and we know how he was here in Dallas with that energy as well. X factor number 2, you got to focus on the task at hand. It's an early start time for this Mavericks team, obviously at 11 a.m. You got to get off to a fast start. And honestly, and Tim, you kind of started to allude to it a little bit. This could be one of those trap games. Obviously, you're down a lot of guys today. You're shorthanded. You got 3 big games coming up against Minnesota, against Oklahoma City, and Boston. You cannot take the Charlotte Hornets team lightly, especially with a guy in LaMelo Ball who's 4th in the NBA in scoring this year. If you're the Mavericks, you got to start fast and set a tone early on to give yourself a chance to win this game. That starts with Kyrie Irving, who, of course, is leading the Mavericks, averaging nearly 24 points per game so far this year.
But, yeah, and I don't even know if I'd call it a trap game. And I'm just being pedantic. I know what you mean. But but if you're down 2 starters and 6 players and you're going up against, it doesn't matter how bad the team is you're going up against or where they are in the standings, Dallas shouldn't be looking as if they're going to obviously win this game, And, sure, you go play, the New Orleans Pelicans even fully healthy. And, NBA players, smart NBA players, the right mentality to have isn't that you're going to assume anything. But I don't think, when you look around the locker room, if you're a Dallas Mavericks player who's going to be in this game and you look around the locker room and you see who's in and out, I think it's pretty clear that this is a difficult task no matter who the opponent is. And Charlotte can provide very difficult challenges. They do have a high ceiling. They do have, talent that could get turned on for certain games. So, if we're here after the game and Dallas loses, I mean, it's the injuries. I mean, it starts with the injuries, the absences, and the fact that Charlotte probably had a pretty good game.
Early road games are funny too. They're really funny.
That was also, yes.
Yeah, and they're not just funny for the road team. They can also be funny for the home team. Today is a national holiday for, most people are off work. Most
Mavericks,
people are
if you're trying to be serious today, go honor MLK.
Yeah. But there should be a lot of people at the game. It should be, there should be some energy in the building with it being a holiday and everything. But guys stay up late. Guys go out. Guys like to have fun. That's not just the road team. That's also the home team too. So a lot of the times, really early games like this can get super weird very early.
So if you're the Mavericks, eliminate that by getting off to a good start and not giving the Charlotte Hornets a chance.
You want to sweat it all out in the first few minutes
exactly.
of the game.
Get a good lather going and get things going early if you're Dallas. Which gets us to X factor number 3 for today's game. You got to turn Charlotte over. Charlotte is a team that is notorious for turning the ball over so far this year. They're 7th worst in the league in committing 16 turnovers per game. Against the Thunder, the Mavericks were terrific in that category, scoring 29 points off 15 Thunder turnovers. Bobby, you talk about it all the time. Your defense has to lead to your offense. If they're going to win games, it's got to start on that end of the floor, and you hopefully have a chance to do that against a team in Charlotte that can turn the ball over quite a bit.
Yeah, again, LaMelo is a dazzling playmaker. He's an incredible shot creator for himself and for others. He has a lot of the Luka traits. He can see things that no one else can see. He can anticipate things that are going to happen before they do, but he can also get a little lost in the sauce. There can be a little too much Monte with LaMelo. So you have to expect the unexpected with him. I'm okay with taking some chances. I'm okay with jumping some passing lanes. I'm okay with throwing out some weird double teams. But again, just be in position to recover if you do go for a gamble or go for a steal and fail, because Charlotte will get rebounds, and just as Charlotte will turn the ball over, you don't necessarily want this to be a track meet the other way too. So don't turn it over yourself. Possession of the ball is going to be super, ultra important today.
And if you can, you are going to give yourself an opportunity to beat the Charlotte Hornets team. Again, the game time will be at 11 a.m. For watching the game, you can watch it on KFAA Channel 29 or on NBA TV as well. Busy day for us here at DLLS Sports. As soon as we're done here, you can tune into the DLLS Cowboys podcast. They're going to be giving you all the news when it comes to the Cowboys coaching search as well. We've got our Rangers show. We've got a lot of stuff going on. And then we'll have our post-game show 15 minutes after the game is over with here on DLLS Sports. So around 1:45 today here on DLLS Sports for our post-game show. We'll have our National NBA Insider, Mark Stein. He'll be joining us live in studio as well. The latest when it comes to the Mavericks trade rumors, as he had some information over the weekend that you'll be interested in, as we'll talk about that during our post-game show. And also special guest, Jonah Javad of WFAA Channel 8. He's going to be joining us on our post-game show as well to provide us his thoughts and perspective on today's game and the way the Mavericks have performed so far this year. So busy day here at DLLS Sports. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to our channel while you're here, and do the same for our podcast wherever you get your podcast for free. That's our Mavericks analyst, Bobby Karalla. That's our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato. I'm your host, Kevin Gray. Shout out to Tanner making us look good, sound good, as always. We'll talk
Shout
to you.
out Ardell, too. Shout out Ardell.
Shout out to Ardell.
Shout out to Ardell.
Ardell's always here. Yeah.
Just like all of y'all.
So many other familiar faces, too, but yeah.
Appreciate y'all joining us early on this morning. We'll talk to you at about 1:45 here on the DLLS Mavs postgame show. Y'all be good. Thanks.
We all silly like the mayor.